Hello friends, welcome to this presentation from Rising Pearl. हम हैं आपके होस्ट, आपके दोस्त रॉय। आज दोस्तों हम बात कर रहे हैं सीरीज नंबर 2, जो कि एक नई सीरीज है जिसे हमने अभी शुरुआत की है, कॉल्ड पॉलिनोमियल्स। आज है एपिसोड नंबर 2। आज की टॉपिक है नट्स एंड बोल्ट्स ऑफ अ पॉलिनोमियल। सो आप समझ रहे हो, नट्स एंड बोल्ट्स का मतलब है द एब्सोल्यूट फंडामेंटल्स ऑफ अ पॉलिनोमियल। ये है एपिसोड नंबर 2। दोस्तों, we recommend definitely you take a look at the episode number 1, जहाँ पे हमने we had a quick recap of algebraic expressions क्या है. So because algebraic expressions are really the fundamentals of a polynomial, so हम definitely recommend करते हैं, if you have not gone through the episode 1, you quickly take a look at episode 1. So having said that दोस्तों, चलिए let us get started. आज हम सीखेंगे what is a polynomial. Polynomial का मतलब क्या है? Then we are going to learn a constant polynomial. Really, what do we mean when we say a constant polynomial? Things keep getting interesting. Then उसके बाद we are going to learn what do we mean by a zero polynomial. उसके बाद हम सीखेंगे how do we write a polynomial. So हमने देखा है कि by this time we would have learned what is a polynomial. Then सीखेंगे कि polynomials को लिखने का is there a specific style how we write a polynomial. उसके बाद we are going to continue to learn कि what are the number of terms of a polynomial. जैसे monomial क्या है, binomial क्या है, etc. Terms of a polynomial. And finally, friends, we are going to conclude this episode by talking about degree of a polynomial. So as you can see, दोस्तों, this is quite a big lineup. So without wasting any time, let us quickly get started and dive into the detail. So पहली है definition of what do we mean by a polynomial. इसकी definition है दोस्तों, in an algebraic expression when we have whole numbers as exponents of the variable, then we call that expression a polynomial. So आपने देखा है the algebraic expressions are जब भी आप एक variable के साथ आप constant को ऐसे करके जोड़ते हो, या फिर when you write something like 4x square plus x minus 3, या फिर you write something like 5x to the power 4 plus 4x to the power 3 minus 2x square plus 5, right? So ये जो हमने तीन algebraic expressions लिखी हैं, you can notice that the first expression has a variable term and a constant term, right? जो second expression है, यहाँ पे we have three terms, 1, 2 and 3. जो first term है, जो second term है, they contain the variable and the third term has a constant. जो third expression है, we have 1, 2, 3 and 4 terms in this. Now यहाँ पे एक चीज जो which is very important is that they're all these expressions दोस्तों, they contain the variable x, right? Now आप एक चीज notice कीजिए, यहाँ पे ये जो variable है in each of these expressions, जो variable है आपकी in this case x, it is raised to a whole number. मतलब यहाँ पे जो variable term है, it is raised to a value of 1. यहाँ पे you have two terms that contain variable. यहाँ पे the variable is raised to power 2. यहाँ पे the variable is raised to power 1. In the third example of an algebraic expression, यहाँ पे we have the first term raised to variable power 4, the second term is raised to power 3, third term is raised to power 2. So आपने notice किया in each of these expressions जो variables हैं, all of the variables are raised to a whole number. So इन expressions को हम कहते हैं polynomial. So polynomial. So all of these friends are examples of a polynomial. आपको मालूम है whole numbers, we have learned this in our first episode, कि whole numbers को we write by letter W uppercase, and these are numbers like these, right? This set of numbers all the way till plus infinity, इन्हें हम कहते हैं whole numbers, that is numbers like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 all the way till plus infinity. So जब कभी हम कोई expression लेते हैं जहाँ पे the variables are always raised to all the variables, they're always raised to a whole number, power of a whole number, उन्हें हम उन expressions को हम कहते हैं polynomial. Now दोस्तों, on the same note, can you tell that अगर हम मान लीजिए we take a term like 2x plus 1 by x, right? या फिर we take something like मान लीजिए third a cube root of x plus 2x plus 3. So can you tell if these two expressions are polynomials? So पहली बात तो ये है कि इसे आप simplify करके आप लिख सकते हो. This can be written as 2x plus this x by 1 can be written as x to the power minus 1. आपने देखी है from exponents, laws of exponents से how you can write 1 by x to the power 1 as x to the power minus 1. So this example, in this example, यहाँ पे we have two terms. In this expression we have two terms of variable. This one is good because this is raised to power 1, but ये जो term है दोस्तों, in this term x is raised to a power minus 1, which is not a whole number, right? Whole numbers are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 like this. This is not a whole number, so this one is not a polynomial. So this expression is not a polynomial. Right? What about this expression? So इसे हम लिख सकते हैं cube root of x can be written as x to the power 1 by 3 plus 2x plus 3. यहाँ पे हम देखते हैं कि this term is okay because this is raised x to the power 1, right? But ये जो term है, the first term, again आप देखते हो, this is actually raised to a rational number, right? 1 by 3, which is definitely not a whole number. Again, this is also not a polynomial. So ये both these examples दोस्तों जो हमने देखी है, this one and this one, they are examples of not polynomials. जबकि ये जो the first three examples that we saw, the three expressions, they are clearly polynomials. आइए दोस्तों, let us keep moving forward. अभी हम बात करेंगे constant polynomial की. So what do we mean by a constant polynomial? हमने देखी है कि polynomial क्या है, but what do we mean by a constant polynomial? When a polynomial contains only a real number. So जो polynomial है, if it contains only a real number, that is polynomial has a variable that is raised to power 0, we call it a constant polynomial. मान लीजिए हम आपको देते हैं 2. If we give only an expression which has 2, then you can imagine कि we can write a imaginary variable raised to power 0. आपको मालूम है anything raised to power 0 is actually 1, right? So अगर आपको कोई सिर्फ 2 दे, then you can think that there is a variable which is raised to power 0. So इसे हम बोलते हैं. So if you have 2, we can think it is 2 equals 2 times x to the power 0, right? So in this case, ये जो 2 है, it is called a constant polynomial. So similarly, let's say we write 3 by 5, right? इसे हम again सोच सकते हैं कि this could be 3 by 5 multiplied by y to the power 0. So this is again a constant polynomial. So basically दोस्तों, अगर आपको कोई भी real number दिया जाए, right? If you have any real number, say let's say minus 10, you can again think कि there is some imaginary variable which is raised to the power 0. So इसके वजह से we call these or these, जब कभी आपको कोई भी real number दी जाती है, we call them constant polynomials. So this is the definition of a constant polynomial. मतलब कि जब भी एक polynomial या कोई expression हो that only has a real number, there is no term that contains a variable. That is जो variable की term है, that is itself missing. You just have a constant term. उन्हें हम कहते हैं constant polynomial. They are known as constant polynomial. Now आइए दोस्तों, let's continue to explore more. So constant polynomial तो खैर हमने अभी देखी है कि if we have 2, 3, 5 by 8, या फिर minus 10 by 13, all of these are basically examples of let's write some more, maybe 1, 0, 2, etc., etc. They are all examples of constant polynomials, right? Now zero polynomial किसे कहते हैं दोस्तों? Zero polynomial है जो constant, if the constant is zero, then it is called a zero polynomial. मतलब कि मान लीजिए आपको दिया जाए 0, इंस्टेड ऑफ आपको अगर हम 2 देते हैं या 3 देते हैं, 5/8 माइनस 10/13 या फिर 102, इंस्टेड ऑफ गिविंग एनी ऑफ दिस, अगर हम आपको देते हैं just the number 0, then इनको हम कहते हैं constant polynomials. बट अगर आपको हम देते हैं नंबर 0, then इसके लिए स्पेशल टर्म है, and that is called as a zero polynomial. So दोस्तों ये हो गई आपकी what do we mean by constant polynomials and what is meant by a zero polynomial. Now आइए देखते हैं how do we write a polynomial. So अब तक हमने देखा है, चलिए कुछ polynomials लिखते हैं. So let us write something like 2x plus 3, right? Let's write something like 4y square minus 2y plus 10. Then मान लीजिए we write something like 5r cube plus 4r square minus 3r plus 10. And then let's finish up by saying something like 10s to the power 4 minus 20. So दोस्तों आप नोटिस करोगे कि each one of them, right, the first expression is a polynomial. यहाँ पे एक variable है, it is raised to power 1. So this is a polynomial. यहाँ पे हमारी variable है x, right? x is a variable. ये जो second example जो है हमने यहाँ पे हमारी variable है y, because we have 1, 2 and 3 term, and यहाँ पे this is the constant term, और ये जो term है they are variable terms. यहाँ पे variable है y square and y to the power 1. So this is again a polynomial in variable y. जो हमारी third expression है that is again a polynomial. यहाँ पे जो हमारी variable है that is variable r, because r cube, r square, r. So यहाँ पे the variable is r. It is not x, it is not y, but यहाँ पे variable है r. Similarly, in the very last example, we have 10s to the power 4 minus 20. In this example, हमारी variable है s. So दोस्तों यहाँ पे we have 4 polynomials. इन्हें हम कैसे करके लिखते हैं? So polynomials को लिखने का स्टाइल ऐसा है दोस्तों कि we write a lower case letter, उसके बाद हम ऐसे एक ब्रैकेट डालते हैं, and then we write the variable. We close the bracket and we write equal to like this. So इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि जब हम 2x plus 1 है, इस polynomial को हम represent कर सकते हैं by writing any lower case letter of your choice. Convention normally है we use p, q, so on so forth, and then bracket open करते हैं, and then within the bracket we definitely write the variable of the polynomial. जैसे in this particular example variable is x, so we chose p within bracket x bracket close. In this example this is a variable in y, so हम इसे लिख सकते हैं, well हमने p लिख ली है यहाँ पे, so let us call it q, again lower case. Convention है we use a lower case letter, we open the bracket, and because it's a variable in y, उसके बाद so we write y, we close the bracket and we write equal to. So इसका मतलब ये हुआ दोस्तों कि we are using this to represent this entire polynomial. So आइए दोस्तों, for this one let us write the pq. We want to write r, but r is our variable, so इसके लिए हम इसे r नहीं लिखते हैं. चलिए let's write maybe s and bracket में r, because r is a variable, right? Now you do not want to write something like r, right? Because this will become confusing. r आपकी variable है, so you don't want to name the polynomial as r. So we don't do this in this particular example, right? Now in the last example यहाँ पे similarly we will not want to write s, so let us call this maybe t, polynomial t, but where the variable is s equals this. So ये हो गई दोस्तों, this is your conventional form of how we write a polynomial. So हम लोग in each of these examples में we write a lowercase letter, and we choose the lowercase letter in such a fashion that it is not the same as the variable itself. We choose lowercase letter, then we open a bracket, and within bracket we write the variable of the polynomial, we close the bracket. So ये हो गई दोस्तों how we actually write a polynomial, right? Now चलिए let us keep rolling forward. अभी हम बात करेंगे polynomial and number of terms of a polynomial, right? Now this is very important point दोस्तों, to understand that polynomial contains finite number of terms. So जब भी आप कभी कोई भी polynomial लिखते हो, the polynomial must contain finite number of terms. Okay. Next point is polynomial, अगर if a polynomial contain one term, उसे हम कहते हैं monomial. Mono का मतलब है one. Mono means one. So अगर हमारी polynomial it contains only one term, we call it a monomial. अगर हमारी polynomial it contains two terms, we call it binomial, and again you will know bi का मतलब है two, so on so forth. So दोस्तों चलिए let's write some polynomials. अभी हमने देखा है we write a polynomial in this fashion. मान लीजिए we write a polynomial in x as x plus 2. So in this particular case we have two terms. This is our first term, this is a second term. So ये हो गई हमारी an example of binomial की, right? Similarly एक और example लिखते हैं. Let's write q to the polynomial which is in variable y, and इसे लिखते हैं y square plus let's say 4y plus 3. Now ये जो हमारी polynomial है, we have three terms in it, right? So this polynomial contains three terms. एक चीज which is very important दोस्तों is always जब भी आप कोई भी polynomial लिखते हो, it must contain finite number of terms. Now कभी कभी you will see कि people write something like मान लीजिए px, एक ऐसे polynomial किसी ने लिखी है which contains, maybe it is written something like, let's say 10x to the power 10 plus 9x to the power 9 plus dot 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 plus 2x to the power 2 plus x plus 1. So कभी कभी you will get a polynomial which is written like this, जहाँ पे कि some terms are written and some are kind of assumed, because यहाँ पे basically you have a pattern कि जो coefficient है is the same as the power to which the variable is raised. So 10x to the power 10, 9x to the power 9, so on so forth. You get 2x to the power 2, then you have x which is 1x to the power 1 plus 1. So इस example का मतलब ये है दोस्तों कि कभी कभी you will have a very large polynomial, but again the point which is to be remembered is polynomials always contain finite number of terms. So in this very example you have basically यहाँ पे from power 1 से लेके power 10 you have 10 terms plus this is your 11th term. So this polynomial contains 11 terms. So even though this is a very big polynomial, but it has 11 terms. Similarly, you can have polynomials that can contain, let us say, 30 terms or 50 terms or 100 terms. But आपको always याद रखनी है कि polynomials they always contain finite number of terms. So अगर दो term हो binomial बोलते हैं, यहाँ पे we have 3 terms. Similarly, we could have something like मान लीजिए polynomial in Rx which is nothing but 10x. So in this case, because there is only one term, we will call this monomial. Right? So अगर one term है we call it monomial. If we have two terms we call it binomial, so on and so forth. It is important to understand that the number of terms is always finite in a polynomial. Now दोस्तों we come to the last topic for this webisode, and वो है degree of a polynomial. The degree of a polynomial. Now the highest power or degree to which a variable is raised in a polynomial is called the degree of the polynomial. The highest power to which the highest power or degree to which a variable is raised in a polynomial, उसे हम कहते हैं the degree of the polynomial. चलिए एक polynomial लिखते हैं, मान लीजिए px is equal to, we write something like 50x6 minus 15x5 plus 10x4 minus 20x square plus 3 by 2. So we have written a polynomial in variable x, right? So आप notice कीजिए पहले तो कि the number of terms, right? We have 1 term, 2 term, 3, 4 and 5 terms. So number of terms is 5 in this polynomial, right? Now यहाँ पे it is in variable x. So आपको यहाँ पे the first term is variable x, second term is variable again x, third and fourth term. So 4 term है which contain a variable. आप एक चीज notice करोगे यहाँ पे दोस्तों, the variable is raised to power 6. The first term is raised to power 6, second term is raised to power 5, third term is raised to power 4 and the fourth term is raised to power 2. So जो definition है which is called the degree of a polynomial. So ये जो polynomial px है, so the degree of polynomial px, right, is as per the definition the highest power or the degree to which the variable is raised. Even though हमारे पास 4 term है variable की, लेकिन in out of these 4 the maximum power to variable is raised is 6. इसके लिए हम बोलते हैं degree of px is actually 6 because 6 is greater than 5 जो हमारी second term है, which is greater than 4 जो हमारी third term है, which is greater than 2 which is our fourth term. So ये जो 6 है, this is the maximum power to which our to maximum power to which the variable x is raised in our polynomial. So दोस्तों ये हो गई आज. We actually captured the very essence or the nuts and bolts of polynomial and the terms that we always use whenever we discuss polynomials. We really want you to spend some time going through this in little bit more detail. Take your time. Make sure you really understand these things very clearly, ताकि as we go forward you will be very easily able to capture the the topics or discussions on the polynomial. Like we always say, if you have any questions, feel free to drop us a note, comment, कोई questions हो आप definitely आप बेझिझक हमें भेजिए. Send us a comment and हम लोग will be more than happy to answer those for you. अगले एपिसोड में फिर मिलेंगे, तब तक के लिए शुक्रिया, धन्यवाद.